The Roundtable is powered by Patreon, including supporters like Star and Ray. We shouted them out before, but in case you've forgotten, cats rule. Star and Ray's channel is all about cats and products for cats, mainly toy reviews for the two titular cats. They are absolutely adorable. Seeing them play with a toy brings me joy. No rhyme intended. Check them out. Link in the description. If you want a shout out on the Roundtable, consider supporting us over on Patreon. Shoutouts are our highest tier. Now on to the video. Welcome back to Crystal Clear! I'm ARTWITHKODA, and now that we're in this new time period in Steven Universe, where 2 years have passed since Steven has made peace with the diamonds, there's one old plot thread that's recently resurfaced, as a lot of fans are thinking, wait, what? I am, of course, going off the title of this video, referring to all the Bubbled Rose Quartzes in Pink Diamond Zoo, alongside the bigger question of what happened to the zoo. But for now, we're only going to focus on the Rose Quartz, as I have a few ideas of where they could end up, alongside their potential for a huge role in the upcoming season. So with all that said, let's dive in. So the Bubbled Rose Quartzes have only made one appearance in the episode That Will Be All, where during the Greg retrieval mission, Steven and his father stumble into Pink Diamond's old room for resting, not to be confused with a rest room. Yeah, boo all you want. In this room, Steven and Greg discover that all the Rose Quartzes were captured and bubbled, seemingly by a pink gem judging by the bubble's hue. Both processing grief in their own ways, Blue Diamond wants to hold on to these bubbles, whereas Yellow Diamond is adamant on all these gems being shattered. But ultimately, unless they made a huge decision off screen, these bubbles remained untouched and kept within the zoo. However, now that Steven has brought peace to the universe, what would be the following course of action for these gems? Something that I found interesting was that in Steven Universe the movie, the Diamonds remarked that Steven was all they had left of Pink prior to Spinel's return in their life. So that makes me wonder, what happened to the Rose Quartzes? I'm assuming one of the immediate courses of action the Diamonds took after healing all the corrupted gems were liberating these Rose Quartzes and figuring out what their next move is. So perhaps the Rose Quartz gems are just integrated back into society. They are also all free gems, so thus the Diamonds feel like the Rose Quartz gems aren't really active in their lives. They're out doing their own thing, and the Diamonds can't really do anything about it. I would love to see an episode in season 6 where maybe Steven decides to check up on the Rose Quartz gems. We get to see just what they're up to in Homeworld, how they're enjoying their free time, and how they're really processing everything. After all, Pink Diamond hijacked their identity. And considering we've only seen so many pink gems, I'm assuming Pink herself was the one to bubble the Rose Quartzes. After all, it is in her private domain, and if bubbling a gem sends them to what the bubbler considers home, it makes sense why they would end up in Pink Diamond's room within this menagerie. Assuming, of course, Pink Diamond frequented the zoo enough to consider it a home for her, and not her palace on Homeworld. Or perhaps the Diamonds have the option to send gems wherever they desire once they're bubbled. This means that Pink Diamond on an impulse assumed the identity of a Rose Quartz and then turned around, labeled all the Rose Quartzes as potential traitors, and imprisoned them in a bubble for thousands of years, to the point where they would have never been liberated if it wasn't for Steven. Ha yeah, if Spinel made you angry at Pink Diamond, if the Rose Quartzes do return, expect to get even angrier, all I'm saying. But let's say because of this, the Rose Quartzes need a bit more of a care package. Well, this takes me to another possibility that maybe not many have considered. Considering they will already be unbubbled in the human zoo, which I'm assuming would no longer be a human zoo in Era 3, but you can't exactly put the Zoomans on Earth. That's just way too big of a culture shock, unless you put them on like Mask Island or something, which I could see as a possibility. I can see the human zoo itself just turning into more of a resort, and maybe it could become a designated home for the Rose Quartzes. A resort tailored just for them, where they can live it up and be free. But what if that still isn't enough? That there's still a bad taste lingering in the Rose Quartz's mouths? Well, there has been an idea circulating throughout the fandom and different parts of the internet. A theory that's been brought to my attention a few times already. What if nothing Homeworld does can satisfy the Rose Quartzes for what happened to them? That they were unfairly punished, isolated, exiled, and taken out of commission by the person responsible for tampering with their identity in the first place? What if the Rose Quartzes are the next big antagonist? That if there is a rebellion on Homeworld, it's led by them. They just want some good old-fashioned revenge. They want to remove the Diamonds and especially Steven out of power, and make sure what happens to them never happens to anyone ever again. although they would obviously be ignorant to the fact that Steven is trying to prevent that exact same thing. But honestly, I can see the Rose Quartzes on their own leading a rebellion, and if anything, while I do see the Rose Quartzes holding a grudge and joining with another force feasible, I want to tie it back into the notion of an Era 3 rebellion being led by former antagonists, but namely Jasper, as I think that would make for some really satisfying full circle storytelling. To quickly reiterate, it was confirmed long ago in the early days of the Stevenverse podcast that Jasper is viewed like a celebrity on Homeworld, thus she has influence. We've seen some of this influence at play in the episode Back to the Moon, with the Ruby Soldiers. I think many gems can hold a grudge in this new era, but very few have the goal to get the ball rolling, to make a significant difference and uprising on Homeworld, and I believe Jasper is one of that few. And even if she has a different goal from the Rose Quartzes, restoring Homeworld to how it used to be, she could still easily manipulate them into following her, because even if their goals don't align perfectly, they both would likely target the same result: the death of Steven Universe. Not to mention, Jasper's vendetta has always been against Rose Quartz, unaware that she was secretly Pink Diamond in the first place. It'd be such a great reversal to have Jasper go from someone who's trying to destroy whom she believes to be a Rose Quartz, the notion of a Rose Quartz being her mortal enemy, to leading Rose Quartzes in battle. So instead of secretly serving Rose Quartz in a way, actual Rose Quartzes would be serving Jasper. Plus, if the actual Rose Quartz gems are remotely similar to Pink Diamond in abilities, then Steven and the Crystal Gems have their work cut out for them. It's one thing to have an overpowered healer on your side, but let's say some variation of healing is a normal factor to Rose Quartzes. Suddenly they could go up against hundreds of healers. Or if all Rose Quartzes have phytokinesis. Do you want to go up against 100 poison ivies? I wouldn't. So far in Steven Universe, the concept of someone having powers to control the Earth has been utilized in a character who needs to protect the Earth. But what happens when you get those abilities to someone who wants to destroy the planet? How much would that impact Steven and the Crystal Gems? And Steven's house now has a diamond base that also functions as a greenhouse, full of roses and hibiscus flowers, representing both sides to his mother's legacy. So how ironic would it be if, when Steven finally begins to embrace his mom 100%, the cut-up gem that Steven's mom used as a scapegoat comes after him with a lust for revenge? What would that look like? And what would that do to Steven mentally? And hey, how sweet would it be if a Rose Quartz was the final villain of the series? That at first Jasper is the head commander of the rebellion, but throughout this season-long arc, one Rose Quartz in particular is able to manipulate her way up the ranks, until she gets to the point where she overthrows Jasper. Jasper having to form an alliance with Steven and the Crystal Gems, finally giving her some form of a redemption arc, as the fate of all of Steven's progress falls on the gem who possesses the image of his mother. I'm just saying, it would be wild. But as always, these are just my thoughts, and I want to hear yours. What do you think? What would you wager happened to the Rose Quartz Gems? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, or tweet your thoughts at Roundtable Vids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at ARTWITHKODA. We're also on Instagram. Special thanks to ARTWITHKODA for creating an awesome thumbnail. For more of his wonderful art, you can find him on Tumblr and Instagram at ARTWITHKODA, and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Link down below in the description. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. ARTWITHKODA, signing out.